This is the Brig of Ayr, not to be confused with Brigadoon, which is also a real bridge that perhaps I will visit later. This bridge is located in the heart of the town of Ayr, crossing over the Ayr River, and is one of the oldest bridges in all of Scotland. According to legend, the first bridge was paid for by a pair of sisters, after one of them lost the man that she loved when he was drowned trying to cross the river. Another version says that both sisters were waiting for the knights they loved to return from the Battle of Largs. The knights, having survived the battle, were eager to return to the ladies and attempted to ford the flooded river, and both perished. The two sisters never married and gave money so that no one else would perish trying to ford the river. In several accounts, it says that the likeness of the two women was carved into the eastern side of the bridge and could be seen up until the Victorian age. The bridge, thought to be built around 1585, has been preserved in a large part due to the fact that Robert Burns made it famous in one of his poems, The Brigs of Ayr, in which a conversation is had between the old bridge and the new bridge, which was built around 1788. In the poem, the new bridge mocks the old one, saying, in more poetic Scots, that people would rather get wet fording the river than use such an ugly bridge like the old one. The old bridge replies that it will still be standing when the new bridge is a pile of rocks. To an extent, this came to pass in 1899, when the new bridge suffered from a storm and had to be destroyed and rebuilt, while the old one remained standing. The poem helped to inspire people over the years to give so that the bridge could be repaired and still functions as a pedestrian crossing today. Not far from the old bridge is the old church, still in use as a church today. Near the entrance to the church, you will find this structure. It is known as a lich gate, a gateway covered with a roof at the entrance to a churchyard. They are relatively common in England, but not so much in Scotland. The name comes from an Old English word, lich, for corpse or dead body. This one is thought to possibly have been built thanks to the influence of Oliver Cromwell and his English troops, who had set up a fort in Ayr around the time the church was being built. The purpose for such structures was so that people could have a relatively dry and warm place to sit and guard new graves from body snatchers, or resurrection men as they were called. There was a huge demand by universities for bodies to dissect and to study for medical students, and often they would not ask questions where the bodies came from. It became a very real problem that bodies were being taken, and so often the family would either stand guard themselves or hire others to guard the graves. If you could not afford to have people guard the body, then you could use what was called a mort safe. These are far more common in Scotland than lynch gates were. You can still see them in various churches. A mort safe was a heavy structure of iron or iron and stone that was placed over a coffin. They would often take two men to lift and unlock. This is an example of one that was probably rented out and buried on top of the coffin, and then after a sufficient period of time to allow for decay, one article saying about 6 weeks, the mort safe was dug back up and reused. Fortunately, nowadays, of course, body snatching is not common in Scotland, and there's no longer much use for mort safes or lich gates, though I personally wouldn't mind seeing more lich gates, as they were often used by ministers to stay dry while conducting funerals. But oh well. For now, this is goodbye, our cheery Andrasta.